Hey everyone, welcome to the Mass Retirees Weekly Update. Today's Friday, January 29th. I'm Sean Duhamel. Thank you so much for joining with us again this week. Can't believe it's the end of January. As you can see over my shoulder here out the window, if you're observant, we have a little bit of snow on the ground here in Boston finally. So winter is upon us. So for those of you outside of Massachusetts right now enjoying the southern climates, I hope you are enjoying yourselves. This is what we're dealing with here. But in all seriousness, I have two updates for you this week that are really important. First of all, let's start off with the really good news in that Governor Baker has released his FY22, that's fiscal year 22 state budget. It came out on Wednesday, and there's some great news contained in the budget for public retirees. So thank you, Governor Baker, for once again looking out for our members and doing right by our members. We greatly appreciate it. And the legislature has been fantastic in recent years, as well as working with us, making sure that COLAs are paid and pension funding levels are what they should be, and that the Group Insurance Commission is fully funded. And the governor's budget really follows along those same guidelines that we've had now for the last decade or more. The COLA for the state and teachers pension systems is a 3% COLA based on a $13,000 base. We will have more to say about the COLA base in the coming weeks. We have proposed, along with our legislative package for the current session, a number of bills addressing the COLA, and we'll be talking about that in the coming weeks of what we're doing to try to advance the COLA base for state and teacher retirees. At the local level, the COLA base, as well as the COLA, is determined by the local retirement system and local legislative officials in terms of raising the base. So it's really a local issue for those of you who are local retirees. But back to the state budget. In addition to the COLA, the governor has fully funded the state's pension appropriation and fully funded the State Group Insurance Commission with no changes whatsoever to current benefit levels or current contribution rates. Now, this is very important, even for those of you who are local retirees. The tone set and the policies set by the state very quickly become local policy. And if the state is doing right by its retirees, it makes it that much more difficult for local officials to do anything that would be harmful to our local retirees. And in the past, when we've seen attempts or efforts at the state level to make cuts or pass certain reforms that were detrimental to retirees, we also saw the same activities taking place in many cities and towns across Massachusetts. So it really begins at the state level, and again, I'm happy to report, I'm thrilled to report that we have nothing but good news. Now, the governor's budget, which is known as House 1, is now before the House of Representatives. The House will be taking up the budget likely sometime in April if they follow the normal schedule. However, because of COVID-19 and the ongoing pandemic, we're not quite sure at this time of what that schedule is going to be. Now, in terms of the second part of my weekly update, I want to talk about COVID-19 and specifically the vaccination process that is now underway. And in particular to all of that, I want to talk about frustration. The frustration that all of us feel dealing with this entire situation now for nearly 11 months. Now, obviously, it's frustrating for all of us. We're cooped up inside. As you can see, I'm recording this video from home. Now, I'm very thankful. I'm very fortunate to have the ability to work from home. Our entire staff at Mass Retirees, largely for the past 11 months, has been working from home in order for us all to remain safe. We are taking turns going into the office. There is someone at 11 Beacon Street from our staff every day, but we are taking every precaution we can to keep one another safe. So today is my day to work from home, and again, I'm very fortunate to be able to do so. I love being home, but I also love being in the office, and I love being around my coworkers and my team, and I can't wait to be able to get back to doing that. And more importantly, all of us at Mass Retirees, we can't wait till we can hold in-person membership meetings once again. It's been nearly a year since Frank Valeri and Leo Delaney and myself were down in Florida in March for our Largo meeting. It was the last time I had a tie on. I don't even know if I remember how to tie a tie at this point. But those of you who were at that meeting, it was a great meeting. It was very well attended. The very next day, Governor Baker, along with a number of other states, announced that we were going into lockdown mode, and life has been different ever since. Well, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Now that the vaccines are available and have been in the process of being delivered over the past 4, 5, 6 weeks, progress is being made. But that progress has also come with a great deal of frustration and some anger, to be quite completely honest, and it's very justified. This week, here in Massachusetts, Governor Baker made the announcement that beginning on February 1st, all adults age 75 and older will be eligible to receive the vaccine. Then later in February, as part of step 2 of phase 2, if that makes sense, step 2 of phase 2, all adults age 65 and older, and in addition, those adults who have severe health concerns that would put them at greater risk for COVID, and all that information is available online in terms of how people qualify, but those individuals will also be able to start to receive the vaccine later in February. Now, it's one thing to be able to say that you're eligible to receive the vaccine, but it's something completely different to, in practice, make an appointment and actually be able to go and receive that shot. Or in the case of the vaccines that are now available, we all need 2 shots at the present time. So these are 2 very different things, and I should take a step back to say once again how thankful we are to the governor and the COVID-19 vaccine task force that exists here in Massachusetts for taking the steps that they have. This has been a Herculean task. It's something that none of us in our lifetime have ever had to deal with before. Now, obviously, mistakes have been made, and if we could go back and do things a little bit differently, I'm sure that a lot of things would be done differently. However, we are where we are. And despite some of those mistakes, we are moving forward, and there's light at the end of the tunnel, and there's hope that we're finally going to be able to get past this episode and return life to some degree of normalcy before the end of 2021. That's what we're all shooting for. That's what we're all hoping for. But it's going to take some time to get there. And in the meantime, it's natural that our frustrations are building up, particularly when folks and individuals and members of our association are at risk and you're being told that you're now eligible for the vaccine. You're being given instructions of how to then go make an appointment to get the vaccine, only to find out in doing so that it's extremely complicated and convoluted and you can't get an appointment and you can't make the website work. I myself this week tested it out and I couldn't make it work properly. So it's definitely something that needs to be fixed. The governor yesterday afternoon at his press conference made it very clear that he's not satisfied or happy with the current situation, and the Commonwealth is taking steps to improve this process. Beginning next week, the Commonwealth is also going to launch a call center. So for those of you who don't have the ability to go online and make an appointment over the internet, there's going to be a toll-free hotline for folks to call, and you can make appointments to be vaccinated over the telephone. Now, all of that being said, and as great as all of that is, we still have a huge logistical challenge, not just here in Massachusetts and not just in the United States, but worldwide, of there being a problem with supply and demand. Quite simply, there is not enough vaccine being produced quick enough to get in everyone's arms and make us all safe as fast as we would like it to happen. Up until this past week, Massachusetts was receiving roughly 80,000 doses of the vaccine per week. Now remember, you need 2 shots in order to have the vaccine be fully effective. So 80,000 doses, you're really going to divide that by 2 because each person, again, needs 2 doses. So at 80,000 vaccinations per week, out of nearly 7 million people live in our state, you can just see how slow that process is. Now, the governor announced this week we are now up to 100,000 vaccines being delivered to Massachusetts every week. And the hope and expectation is that by the middle of February, we will be up to somewhere between 300,000 to 500,000 dosages of the vaccines coming into Massachusetts each and every week, with it growing and ramping up from there. But even at that pace, it's going to take months in order to vaccinate every single person that needs and wants to be vaccinated here in Massachusetts. And just to give you an idea of the numbers, we have nearly 450,000 Massachusetts residents who are age 75 or older. And when you add in those seniors who are age 65 and over, there are more than 1.2 million people in that category. Hospital and frontline medical workers alone who are now in the process of being vaccinated, they're part of phase 1. There are approximately 350,000 frontline medical workers here in Massachusetts. So it's a logistical nightmare to get everyone vaccinated and this whole system that needs to be set up. And again, there have been mistakes made, and there are questions as to why, now that we're 11 months into the pandemic, of why these types of logistical questions have not been figured out already. I don't have an answer for that. I know that the governor and others are working very hard. The new Biden administration is working very hard to do their part and provide federal leadership and to ramp up the production of the vaccine and get it out to everybody just as soon as we can in a very efficient manner. That's what we're all striving for. But in the meantime, it's important, first of all, that we all remain patient. That's really all we can do. Remain positive. We've made it this far together, and we're going to get through all of this together. But from an association standpoint, of being your representatives, we're going to continue to advocate on your behalf. We played a role a week ago in pushing hard with the governor and the vaccine task force and the legislative leadership to make sure that all retirees age 65 and over receive the vaccination as soon as possible. Our members are amongst the highest risk population for infection that there is. It's a fact of life. Not only are you higher risk for infection, you're higher risk for serious illness and hospitalization, and unfortunately, in many cases, death. And every step needs to be taken to protect those of you who are at the highest risk of contracting COVID-19. And that's what the Commonwealth has done. We've pushed the schedule up, but now the next step is ramping up the delivery process, making sure that it is as convenient as possible for people to get vaccinated, and most importantly, to make sure that that vaccine is available to you. So what we are going to do is continue to be your advocates, continue to get information to you as soon as it becomes available. Unfortunately, we don't have all of the answers to your questions right now. What you are hearing from me in this video and in the email that we're sending out this week is the most up-to-date information we have. I know people are clamoring for additional information, and it gives you peace of mind, but we're going to get that information out to you just as soon as we possibly can. The next step next week will be improved registration processes to get people signed up and make appointments for the vaccine. Unfortunately, they can only accommodate just so many appointments per week just because of the lack of availability of the vaccine itself. So it's going to take some time. Continue to go online. Next week when the call center is up and running, we'll get that information out to you as soon as it's available. But we're going to get through this together. And I want to thank you for your support of our association and everything that you're doing for us through this process of just keeping us positive and giving us hope. And again, we're going to get through this together, but getting the information earlier this week about the budget, it really gives us peace of mind, and we're very thankful for that. And we are looking forward to a productive legislative session. And speaking of which, please mark your calendars that a week from today, Friday, February 5th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon Eastern Time, we will be holding a telephone town hall event to specifically talk about our legislative program for the coming year. We are filing somewhere around 16, 17, 18 bills. We're just now putting the finishing touches on that package. It covers every aspect of your retirement, from your pension to your health insurance to survivor benefits to veterans benefits. We're going to talk about all of that next Friday in detail. So join with us. The telephone number is in the email we sent today. It's also in your newsletter, or you can also receive the automated phone call from us that would allow you to directly connect to that call next Friday at 1 o'clock. So with that, I'm going to sign off, and we'll be back to you again next week. But in the meantime, keep the faith, stay safe, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thank you so much.